The presentation of today's racing program is a copyrighted broadcast of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, recreation, or retransmission of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem. And they're off. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to beautiful Belmont Park. Cloudy skies and some rain falling right now. The main track is muddy and sealed, and we are off the turf today. There is no turf racing. And again, the main track muddy and sealed. There is a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of more than $429,000. Today, the Empire 6 begins in race 5. And please remember, there is a mandatory payout coming up this Sunday, July the 12th. And here now the changes for the 10-race card. First race off the turf, scratch number 4, Scarlet Sky. Scratch the 4, Scarlet Sky. And all horses will carry 1 pound over. Second race is off the turf. Scratch 8, War Stroll, and 10, Dirty. Second race, scratch numbers 8 and 10. In today's third race, these scratches, scratch 2, The Primitive Man, 3, John Want Revenge, and 9, Striking Speed. Scratch 2, 3, and 9. Note that number 4, Buona Fina, is a Ridgeling, and these horses will be 2 pounds over. Numbers 4, 5, 7, and 10. In race 4, an equipment change for number 8, Cold Hearted Pearl. She'll run with blinkers on. Blinkers on the 8. Race 5 starts the Empire 6. We're off the turf there. In race 5, as of now, we just have a couple of overweights. Number 3 and number 9 are 2 pounds over. In today's sixth race, with the exception of number 6, all horses will carry 2 pounds over. Race 7 is off the turf. Couple of scratches for now. Number 4, Real Doozy is out, and number 12, Roman City. 7th race, scratch numbers 4 and 12. In the 8th race, scratch 4, Foolish Ghost, and 9, Pipes. Scratch numbers 4 and 9, and a rider change on the 6, Durkin's Call, to Jose Ortiz. Jose Ortiz rides number 6, Durkin's Call, in the 8th. The 9th race is the Gold Fever Overnight Stakes. Scratch number 1, Premier Star, scratch the 1. A rider change on the 3, Hopeful Treasure, to Kendrick Caramouche. Kendrick Caramouche rides the 3, and number 7, Liam's Pride, will be 2 pounds over. Race 10 is off the turf. Numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 are 2 pounds over. Number 7 will be 4 pounds over. Scratch the 8, Little Red Button. Scratch number 8. Numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12 will be 2 pounds over. And a rider change will be announced for the 11, She's So Naughty. Rider change to be announced. Also scratch the 14, Frenchy Frou Frou, 15, Magical Romance, and 16, Pie-Night. Again, recapping the scratches in the 10th. Scratch numbers 8, 14, 15, and 16. Main track is muddy and sealed, and we are off the turf today. Jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 is $429,080. We'll be back at 12:45 to recap the changes. First race post is at 1:15. Up next, the Friday edition of Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. He's Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. We've had some rain. We are off the turf. The track is listed as muddy and sealed. Expected to be some heavy showers later in the day. We'll see how that works out. Should we send people to NYRA Bets, Anthony?
I think we should.
Okay. If you're not a member of NYRA Bets, no better time than the present. Saratoga opening a few days from now. We'll match up to $200 deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200 for new members. Go to nyrabets.com for more information. Today, if you bet $50 or more through the app on all of Belmont, Keeneland, and Delmar's opening day card starts at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll give you $20 if you bet $50 or more on each of those 3 tracks. Well, we are off the turf. Not surprising given the weather forecast. So let's go to work. The first race was guessing on the turf. I'm afraid it's a little more guessing even on the dirt.
Yeah, it looks that way. Wesley Ward has a strong hand, you would think, on the far outside with both Blame the Booze, the 5, and the 6, King of Miami. Certainly seemed that both are bred, certainly more so the 5, Blame the Booze, rather. Maybe I've had some booze this morning and not even known it. Blame the
I hope
Booze.
not. You were driving near the track.
That's true, too.
You were driving a little erratically. I'm not.
A little slow.
I was wondering what was going on with that. You were fine.
Son of Blame catches a wet track first time now, and I mean it's a guessing game, and now the mud adds in another variable to.
A variable to you,
yeah,
not to me,
well,
but to you.
It
has a big Tomlinson.
Huge Tomlinson.
416 wet Tomlinson, Anthony. That's why you picked it. Just own it. Just own it. Let me see. Is this the highest Tomlinson here? Now we know exactly why you picked this horse.
Yep.
Just own it, Anthony.
I feel comfortable with a Blame on a wet track.
The first step is admitting it.
I feel very comfortable with a Blame on a wet track.
Okay. Unlike Anthony, I don't worry too much about wet tracks. Most horses handle them just fine. As far as Blame the Booze, the dam was a dirt runner and not very good, but the second dam was a solid dirt sprinter, so I would agree there is more pedigree. The 6, King of Miami, was more of a dirt pedigree, at least in the dam side. An American Pharaoh, I guess, can do either one of them, though it seems like he's been a more proficient turf sire. I'm a little surprised that so far Peter Man is still in here for Graham Motion. Maybe the horse needed to start anyway, and it's just a lot of guessing, but like you, I side with the outside 2 for Wesley Ward and preferred Blame the Booze. We'll see how it goes, and keep in mind, the over-betting of Irad Ortiz is he's not here today, right? He's at Keeneland, so we won't have that to go on. But, you know, keep in mind these off-the-turf races. Obviously, this is the first day we've been off the turf at all. We have not lost a single turf race to meet.
It's remarkable, right?
And it's just remarkable that I'm not getting buried at the meet, because normally it's the only time I ever seem to win. Those are some of the best opportunities in racing, because all too often people bet the races as though they're turf races. And I would imagine there will be scratches coming from some of the other races as we go along. But keep your eyes out, and I really think there's opportunities in these cards, because there will be horses that are bet that are turf horses that aren't dirt horses, and there will be horses that are under bet that are dirt horses that people aren't really paying enough attention to. The one time you can truly find value, and not every race or every time,
you find a lot of value in off the turf races.
You know, it was the only time I was winning when we were when we were shut down playing off turf races down south. Race number 2 off the turf. I mean, this is a race where there was a horse, and we'll take a look at Fox Red's last race finishing second. That was just a very logical horse if this race came off the grass, and you and I both have Fox Red. It does appear to be the speed on top.
Yeah, I actually have this horse. I was going to give this horse a little chance first off the Mike Maselli claim on the turf as well. The dam was 1 for 5 on the turf, but yeah.
Well, the third dam is Memories of Silver as well, so there really is some big pedigree if you go back a few generations.
Well, there you go. I did not. You did. Thank you. Yeah, this is the dirt horse, right? I mean, Bitumen is going to take some money. So he's an off the turfer, but you know,
well, Bitumen did lose to a horse that came back and beat a tougher field in the subsequent start, so maybe this horse has refound his form.
Too, yeah.
What about even Field of Courage? And I prefer Fox Red, but I'm going to keep an open mind in this race. I mean, Field of Courage, if Rudy leaves this one in, has a couple of dirt races going back that are plenty fast enough to be competitive here, to say the least. And I thought he needed his race off the layoff last time, so I'm going to use that horse as well.
He could have.
You've got Business Cycle. I've got him. You've got him second. Yeah, see, the picks are skewed because the chairs were in the wrong spot. So keep in mind when you're looking at the picks, they are under the wrong people's names, or under the names are under the wrong people. Anyway, the names are under the wrong people.
Just like role reversal.
Well, it's confusing to people, and it's absolutely not the TV truck's fault that happened. We were supposed to be sitting in opposite chairs. There also wasn't supposed to be an enormous blocker.
You have one too?
Oh, I got one too. That's why I'm over here and not over here.
This is sweet.
Yeah, they good spot for it. They should have had like 10 of them. Anyway, as far as business cycle is concerned, and we'll give our incredible crew in the truck a chance to try to fix that, which is no fault of theirs by any stretch.
They're the best.
You guys are amazing.
Boom.
It's just amazing, really. Steve, I'd like to give Steve credit, but I know it had to be somebody else. Should we give Steve credit? Steve wants the credit. Steve's taking the credit. Steve jumped right in and took the credit. Okay, you know what? What's the thing? It goes to the...
Possession's 9/10 of the law? I have no idea.
Well, I don't even want to go there. I don't trust business cycle off the claim. Now, I know Lolita Shimongo won some races over the winter. I don't know what to do with this horse. I'm not sure he's good enough anyway.
Maybe not, but this horse came back from the break and has run well in both of his starts.
Found some right fields, didn't he?
Yeah, he caught the right field.
This race is not a weak race off the turf.
Not. I guess not.
You know, among horses like the 1, 2, and even the 3, I'm not sure that any and all of them can't be better than that horse.
Maybe.
What about the 5,000%? Got the prep race last time. I know he did no running. He was in a much tougher. Is a fresh gelding for Mitch Freeman. This horse did run 2 back and handled a wet track, so I'm not so sure that horse couldn't be a player in here.
Yeah, I'm just hoping Foxford gets in front of them and keeps on going.
Yeah, I think that you have to be careful with those kind of opinions. I think you want to keep an open mind in these races. Pick 5, pick 4, and I don't want to narrow down. Fox Red might be the horse to beat, but go in the front and keep it going. I think we want to talk a little bit more through these off-the-turf races because there are going to be opportunities in these races beyond just them. And a horse like 1,000% could get lost in here as they bet on the business cycles, the Bitumans and the Fox Reds of the world. And I'm not sure that horse isn't maybe as likely to win in some ways as the number 6 business cycle. We'll see.
Okay.
Race number 3, there was a big scratch in race number 3 when Striking Speed came out. And that leaves Road Home, who I thought never got into a comfortable spot last time out, sort of between horses in there. He didn't run well, but I believe he'll run better. And also, and you don't have him on top, you have Fulfill on top. The Mott Barn has really been on a run lately, and it feels like their horses were not running that well early in the meet, and maybe it was just a situation of a general needing a start, and they've really come alive a lot. Nice performance yesterday in the feature, by the way. You like that horse. I did not like that horse. I was dead wrong.
You might be right about that, but I got to tell you, there are exceptions to the rules.
You don't think it's Anthony off?
No. This
you
horse
left that barn and like they like a garden. They just
overall,
grew.
yeah, it could absolutely be Anthony off. It's very hard to take this horse off his last race.
I don't agree. I think he ran better than you think he did.
Okay.
I don't think he was ever in a good spot between horses. I don't like where he was.
I don't think he ran 2 steps, but
okay.
Okay.
We disagree.
Yeah.
Fulfill is the speed, and I assume that's why you have him on top.
Yeah, I figured if these races if the track got wet like it was forecasted to, we'll see how it goes as far as the track plays, but I didn't think he had much to deal with it. I'm just not a fan of the rest of them. And these races, I know it's 2 in a row where I'm saying I hope the horse just gets to the front and keeps going. Yeah. This is the kind of race where when Striking Speed comes out of here, I don't trust the rest of these horses to really make up any ground.
Okay, I can't believe that Kendrick wouldn't be aggressive at a mile with the 10 Little Mazzy in this race. So I imagine he could be up. I have absolutely no feeling that the track will necessarily be favoring speed because it got wet.
And I'm not necessarily saying that for this race. I'm saying that in this heat, it's more a function of the field. I don't trust these horses picking up a horse that can get in front of them.
Okay, listen, if Fulfill runs his last race, he can win. If he runs any of his other races, he's in a lot of trouble, but his most recent race gives him a chance. He definitely ran fine last time. I'm not going to argue that. My problem with him is that given the scratches, he's now going to be a clear-cut second choice. He was 25-1 last time out. I can't bet horses like that. And let me ask you another question. Do you think it's odd that Linda Rice scratched the horse who was the morning line favorite, yet left Heirloom Kitten in?
I think Heirloom Kitten can win this race.
So do I.
I absolutely think Heirloom Kitten can win this race. Heirloom Kitten's 2 races on wet tracks last year, especially. I mean, put
they
this horse right there.
absolutely make him a player.
Put him
First
right
and second starts,
yeah.
Going a mile and 1/16 around 2 turns at Churchill.
Couple of 2-turn races to start the career. Now they were both off the turf races, so by the Kitten's joy, you would assume he was intended for the dirt, but for the turf. But he ran well enough first time that and now he's in for a tag for the first time on the dirt. Those races were against special weight horses. He makes a lot of sense.
I think he makes a lot of sense in this race. I also think the 4 Buena Fina is an interesting player near for Jeremiah Englehart.
Bona Fina.
Thank you.
Buena Fina.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You make a great point.
I don't see an E anywhere in there. Buena Fina.
What did I say?
You said Buena.
Bona Fina?
Bona Fina.
I appreciate. That's why you're here. I do. I appreciate
Among
that.
other things.
Among other reasons. There are plenty of reasons you're here. You're a great man. Ran against better horses. Why not give this horse blinkers on second time out? This is your man, Louis Laz. You're heading up to Saratoga. You're going to be leeching dinners off him at Nove at a record rate.
I don't leech anything. I
kid. Anthony is not a leech. You're the opposite of a leech, as a matter of fact.
This horse can win. Listen.
48 lunches, Butler?
Yeah, 48.
Going to have a bet today?
In a race where Roadhome's going to be...
I'm not so sure he's going to be that short. You don't like him?
Which means he should be that short, the way I've been going. I mean, what, you think he's going to be higher than 7-5?
You had a bad week. You were on fire.
He's going to be 7-5. I got to take a few chances against him. That's all. He can win, but...
Okay, yeah, I don't want to...
They're logical players.
By the way, I think he ran a little better than you last time, but I don't completely disagree with you. So I can leave him in a little bit, too. Race number 4... it does feel like in race number 4, there's going to be some pace. We'll look at Malibu Mischief and Cotton Candy Cutie, and this is 2 back for Cotton Candy Cutie, who ran too well to lose last time, a heartbreaking loss for her. And Malibu Mischief was one of the great they knews of the meet, taking all the late money and holding on. But when you throw in the presence of Cold Hearted Pearl in this race, as well as Kimura, it just feels like they're going to be moving a bit up front
here.
They
have to, right?
And I'm going to hope that Mixed Jack, second off the layoff, needed a last start, can take advantage of it on the drop down. So I went to the number 2, and also have Malarkey, I think you have on top, as my second choice, hoping that she too needed her last race.
Yeah, that was Cotton Candy Cutie finishing 3rd. And then last time out, Stefan went and cut her down.
She ran great last time.
And look, she ran unbelievably last time. For the simple fact that the old Stefan kind of showed up and was supposed to beat those horses if she did. We just hadn't seen her for a while, especially at that 7 furlong distance. Yeah, like you, I thought this pace kind of had to come back, right? Seems to be some speed signed on.
It does feel like it on paper. I don't know if that'll work out that way, but it does feel like they've got to be moving a bit up front.
And then I think the 2 logical horses are the ones we have first and second in inverted
I smoked out the chalk.
I'm sorry?
I smoked out the chalk.
And you know, part of the reason I didn't pick this horse is you kind of talked me out of making a bet on her last time. And she didn't run terribly last time.
She really didn't run that bad. She ran well enough to win this race.
Yeah, she ran well enough to win this race.
I didn't like her last time, but she was in against better.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah, she can win here today. I really think...
Of course, I had an opinion in that race that hasn't finished yet, so...
I think this race is 2s and 5s. I feel really confident. I know these bottom level claiming horses.
Oh, Zecca? The race falls apart?
I don't like Zecca. I feel very confident with 2s and 5s in here.
How do you think Zecca feels about that? I don't feel very confident on wet tracks in general in those situations. We'll see. They do seem like the right closers.
Both of these fillies have run well on wet tracks in the past.
No, I'm not. It's just weird things can happen,
Sure.
which I rely on in betting some of the races. Race number 5. Obviously, race number 5, Bossy Bride, is way the horse to beat. We'll take a late, but I want to look at her last race at Delaware. And it's one of those weird things where the figure says that she's fast enough to win. But I got to tell you something. This was one of the greatest chandelier acts in the history of equine chandelierdom.
Is it even chandelier? She's in front. I don't know how you call her a chandelier.
She didn't only not win this race. She didn't even run second here.
She blew second here.
This was... I got to tell you something. This was a race that I can't take her at a short price. She was 9-5. The horses that beat her, they're not much, and I'm a little skeptical of her. Now she's probably going to win because of what's left in the field, and we don't know if there will be scratches. Obviously, I imagine some of these horses will come out. I didn't want to put her on top hand. She's going to be an overwhelming favorite. I just had a bad taste watching that race.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just, to me, you have to kind of want to go off the reservation.
Yeah, you've already gone off the reservation.
Bossy Bride, yeah. I mean, I'm off the reservation enough that I want to kind of. I just think she makes too much sense off the turf.
She does. I don't disagree with
I said that yesterday, and the Jeremiah horse is still running. The
horse was terrible.
Terrible,
yeah.
right?
How about
she
John
makes
Morrison?
Too much sense.
The damage on Morrison's winner broke her maiden in her debut at 25-1, and then she won yesterday in her debut at 42-1.
How about Louis Cardenas? Louis Cardenas fans that just blindly bet him. They just needed to bet the 2. Anything else? The 2 first is from Morrison, $88, and the other one. What did the other one pay? $97.
I don't even remember.
Honey Bernardini. Honey Bunny Dini, whatever her name is.
Oh, in the turf race. That's right. I forgot
in the last race, they put over 2.
Second and third. I think the second and third biggest price in the meet behind that firster for Lugovic.
When do you see the same connections putting over firsters?
Well, I don't know if they put them over. They won.
Well, you know what I mean, but yeah, I mean that's the terminology, right?
I'm not sure that they made big bets on them.
I
hope they did.
But
hey, John Morrison does a good job.
John
Morrison
does a fantastic job.
You know, you got to have horses in your barn that can run, but. He's always been a trainer. Always been a trainer that, you know, has been won with firsters sneakily in the past. Turf. I remember the big price winner at Saratoga a bunch of years ago. And I think the last race, like a crazy big price.
People will be looking up the trainer jock combo ROI for 5 years and saying, how is this thing 1150?
It'll be 1150 in 5 years, if not higher. I'm going to take a small shot with Overheated, who I actually liked on the turf. And obviously a better horse than the turf, but this horse has some races on the dirt that are good enough. I knew Anthony wouldn't pick because he can't possibly pick his buddy Ray Handel.
No, I picked one second the other day.
How do you
I got
not have
hives.
this horse 1, 2, 3, 4, Anthony? This horse can handle the dirt. What about the race behind Gracetown? That's fast enough. There's some 60 buyers somewhere in the PPs. I mean, you know, First Dawn didn't win 2 times ago. She's never going to win. That race 2 times ago was as dropped in First Dawn's lap as any race I've ever seen.
It was.
It really was.
It was.
So I've got her 3rd. I don't consider her a win candidate unless things absolutely fall apart. And I thought that Overheated has some races, so I'm hoping Ray leaves Overheated in. I thought she fit.
Okay.
All right. Race number 6, scheduled dirt race. My friend Steve Christ with Vivizano. Ken as well. The problem in this race, obviously, Vivizano ran extremely well and watched the replay, as did Jewel of Arabia. But Voice of Spring, Linda's horse, who's way in the back at this point, that horse really ran and just has such a look of a Linda Rice, $450,000 2-year-old purchase, probably needed the first start. And Voice of Spring, assuming she handles the track today, is likely to be tough. But I don't want to discount Vivizano or Jewel of Arabia because they both ran very well in here.
I don't either. We saw the race exactly the same way. You said this yesterday about Alda, who wound up winning the opener. Alda was so far back first time out, and just naturally from the experience, gained that experience, used it to her advantage, was a lot closer to the pace yesterday. Took the opener pretty easily. Kind of feel like Voice of Spring is along those same lines. They always seem to show a little bit more positional speed at the very least. I'm not saying she's going to be on top of the pace in here, which does figure to be pretty quick between Vivizano and Jewel of Arabia, but I mean, if she's a little closer, she gets an extra 16th of a mile, she has the experience, she has the look of that Linda second-time maiden.
Okay. I mean, Linda Rice's second-time starters obviously run much better. I wouldn't compare to a turf horse from Graham Motion, but I hear what you're saying. But Linda's horses usually do have more speed. The horse that I can win, but I'm not really excited about, is Jewel of Arabia, because she's now lost consecutive races at 3-5 and 8-5, and I don't want to hear she need a race because the Clermont barn horses were firing on all cylinders when the meet started. So I just think she's got a little bit of a loser tag right now on her, whereas a horse like Vivizano really ran well in that race, and even though she finished behind her, I would be more inclined to want to take her. I just think, like you, that Voice of Spring is kind of the more likely of all of them, and that's no surprise. And Voice of Spring, it's a tough one for David because he made him 2-1 and 5-2. I'll bet you Voice of Spring is favored in this race. I hear what he's saying because she's been short Jewel of Arabia, but these Linda Rice horses do get bet. What about Bonus Baby, the horse that we have 4th in here? She actually did a little running in that field. She seemed to be eased in the late stages of the race by the rider. I don't think she's nearly as bad as that 8th by 18 look. She's in an unusually tough race, but I thought she was a little bit dangerous second time for Jeremiah.
I do too. You know,
who told me you needed to sit in a phone book, by the way, on the show yesterday.
Making pick 4s and picks very good.
Just pointing that out.
I don't know why he doesn't text me. He just texts you.
Maybe he doesn't like you.
Maybe he doesn't. It's a long and illustrious list.
No, it isn't.
For
the list of people that don't like you is about 3. What are you talking about?
It's about 8.
All right, 8. I'll speak to 5 of them.
Yeah, this. Please don't.
Okay, well, I'd rather not.
They.
If they're not your friend, they're not my
This horse
friend.
can make. This horse can make some make a dent in the first start. I don't disagree. And look, the 3 horses that we've mentioned are going to take
All the
virtually
money.
all the money.
And
you
they
can
should.
get. And they should.
They all ran well. I mean, they're all legit.
And they should. But
Right.
like you said, strange things happen on these sloppy, muddy, sloppy tracks, and who knows?
Is that rain again?
Yeah.
You
The,
hear
the real rain's supposed to come like 2 o'clock.
Anthony's now a weatherman. I did not
Anthony's
realize.
been a weather nerd my whole life. I've been a weather nerd my whole life. We get
Really?
flooded. My basement gets flooded, so I've always had to watch. Since I missed the 1989 Belmont Stakes, I watched the Belmont Stakes in New York City OTB because we were bailing water out of the basement. I was not here for the Belmont.
You weren't here for Easy Goer.
I wasn't here for, but I was promised a trip to the Travers, and I sat front row for his Travers win. I was at his
here
Travers.
for Easy Goer's
Wasn't here for
Belmont.
Easy Goer's Belmont.
I might cry hearing this story.
I
One of
didn't
the
miss a
favorite
Belmont.
moments in Belmont's and in
I
Belmont
didn't miss a
history,
Belmont
watching him open
before
up top of the
or
stretch.
after until Jazzle.
I was not at the track for Colonial Affairs win because I had to leave for a wedding. I was here for the first half of
Okay.
the card, and I had to go to a wedding. I think the marriage lasted until the early double, I think, on Wednesday. I missed the Dead show, too. I missed the Belmont and a Dead show
Mondays
for a
were-
marriage
Mondays
that
were
made
done
it
by
into
then.
the late pick 4 later in the week.
Wow.
And other than that, I missed Conquistador Cielo, and which Woody horse won in 82? 82 was Cielo.
82 was Cielo. 83 was
Oh, 84. I missed Swale.
Swell.
I
Okay.
missed, so starting with Seattle Slew, I was not at Belmont for those 2 ones, in 82 and 84, and I had to leave before the other one. But
As
otherwise
far
I've
as
been
I
here.
know, I was at every one from the time I was born until Easy Goer. Story of my life.
As you should be. Race number 3. I have a 7. I have a question for you about race number 7.
Sure. What's your question, Andy?
What is it that you don't like about making out?
I mean, are you convinced she wants
This
to run
is an odd
anymore?
question to ask in general, but
He means in the context of race 7 at Belmont
Theoretically.
on Friday, July 10th,
Theoretically.
by the way. Do you think I don't think she can run anymore.
why? Because she ran off a 4-month layoff on the turf that she has no pedigree whatsoever to handle, and all of her prior races make her a major player in this race?
She's all yours,
Other
my
than that,
friend.
I mean, do you have some secret? Did you go see her in the barn last
No,
night?
I just don't. I don't like what I've seen the last few times she's at the racetrack.
Anthony, leaving this horse out of the top 4 is insane.
I'm insane then.
But
What do
I
you
don't
want me to tell you?
understand. She's like the horse to beat in here.
I'm just trying to tell you, I don't think she wants to do this anymore.
What do you think she wants to do?
What's the common phrase for the fillies
Anthony,
and
she
mares?
ran her
Go
race.
be a mommy?
Anthony,
I don't know.
her races are. She lost by 5 lengths to Cash Offer, who would be 1-9 in
1
this
to
field.
9. Should be 1 to 9.
That's 2 races back.
Maybe I'm misreading it.
You are.
Okay.
You are. He is. Okay. Who do you have on top? You got Gracetown on top. Okay.
I mean,
She's got races,
off
huh?
the turf.
She's got races.
Yeah.
Are you a little worried that Linda's horses have generally needed a start?
Yeah.
That's what worried me about this horse.
I absolutely am. But you know, the other horses that I like in here, I don't necessarily.
Well, why do you
trust,
like Gracetown?
I don't necessarily trust Spring Drama.
Her last sloppy track race, she ran nowhere.
She's the dirt horse. And I know you're going to say the
No,
same
the
about
dirt
making
horse is
out.
making out,
Yeah,
but
I don't like what I've seen from
I mean,
making out lately.
I've got Spring Drama in there as well, but we are trying to kind of trying to wake her up, right?
Yes, no question about it.
Not that
I
she
think-
ran badly last time. She actually ran fine
No,
last time.
I think the
around.
same could be said for Brass Ring. Her last 3 efforts, you know, trying to wake her up a little bit as well.
If she stays in, I want to use her because I think she can be in front of these horses. You
I
talk
do
about
too.
it, and she's a
I do.
price.
And that's why
So I think you're supposed to have
that's
her in
why I
there.
want to use her. Yeah, I think Dylan from the rails just has to blast her out of there and get in front. Another race where, you know, this is a weird off the turf day where we're going to see a lot of horses that are going to take a ton of money. I think there are going to be some heavy favorites on the card.
Really?
I
Like
do.
who?
I think Gracetown's going to be a big favorite in here.
Well,
and
I
I
hope so.
picked her, but I don't necessarily think she has to win this race.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't. I picked her 4th.
Right.
I think she's highly dubious. I think Brass Ring is dangerous. You know, she's run okay on the front end, and she can be speeded here. I thought Brass Ring was very dangerous.
And
Dylan's just supposed to let her blast off.
She had, unlike Gracetown, she has the race. Well, she even has a longer break. She has the race off the break
And
already.
she didn't even run that badly. That was a
No,
much
she didn't.
tougher. I liked her on the turf, actually, in this
Yeah.
race.
That was a.
They won't be on the
That
turf.
was the lost ticket race. No.
I know. I won that race. I
Yeah,
bet lost
you
ticket.
liked lost ticket that
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
I bet the Belmont horses when they
There
win.
was no Stabile either. Yeah, it was
You
no
are
big
really,
A.
you really. I mean,
This has
honestly, I think that what Anthony's not telling us is Belmont called him. You know, I saw him in a very good mood the other day. It was nice to see him, and I think he must have called you and said, Anthony, do me a favor, please stop bringing my horses. We can't win together. I think that's what really happened. You can come clean. It is amazing.
I've bet 4,993
You bet like
of Belmont's
17
winners
horses
of his
between
life.
99 and 5,000.
I missed 7. Lost
I bet
ticket.
none of them and bet the 5,000.
Moon over Miami.
I should have called you.
You know, I bet
that
against.
was. I'd take the blame.
You know,
for that.
I've never admitted this, but I bet against Cigar in the '95 Classic.
Wow, we're all coming clean.
I bet.
I'm not, but Anthony
It's
is.
very cathartic. I bet French Deputy.
He was in there, Neil Drysdale.
I bet French
He
Deputy.
was a very good horse.
He was a very
Big
good
win
horse.
in the Jerome.
I made a score with him in the Jerome. I hit a cold $100 pick 3. Paid $133.
I had that pick 3. I used to actually bet back then. I had that pick 3 for a lot of money back then. It was
When he won the Jerome.
no, when Cigar won.
Cigar
I loved
was,
Unbridled Song, who won the first leg. We didn't have pick 4s back then. I loved Unbridled Song in the first leg.
Unbridled
I loved
Song.
Northern Spur in the second leg,
Yeah.
and Cigar paid $150.
That was the year when we had, much like today, it was a bog, that turf course. Ridgewood Pearl went the mile in like 140.
And that pick 3 too. But if Nick had won the sprint with Mr. Greeley, I'd bet Mr. Greeley at 30 to 1.
The Philly beat him, right?
30 to 1
Desert
in
Stormer?
the in Vegas. Bob Bainish bet it for me. Do you remember Bob? Do you know Bob?
I
Worked for
remember the
Ragozin?
name, yeah.
Friend of mine, good guy.
Desert Stormer win that sprint?
Yeah, beat me. Frank Lyons beat me. I'll never forgive him for it.
That was
and I bet to win and everything. The real reason I had Desert Storm was, and she was a price. She was in the field with Leap to Justice.
Yep. Groucho Gaucho won the last race the day before. Rob was a mott horse who broke his maiden. I was betting
Rob won and paid 12
won and
for
paid
$13.
13 change. Made a score
What a
with
fraud he
Groucho.
turned out to be.
Yeah.
And
Bad quarter cracks.
do you remember who beat him in an allowance race the following spring-summer here at Belmont?
Well,
And I embarrassed myself, and I've embarrassed myself.
Clement beat him.
It wasn't Clement. I've embarrassed myself in a lot of ways, but I was doing prowls back then, and he was an allowance race for the horse, so I'll tell you in a second who it was. And I said, I don't think this horse can run at all. He was an easy goer. He's easy goer's best foal. And he was a monster.
Will's Way?
Rob and Will's Way met an allowance race
remember
here.
that. I do remember this.
Yeah,
I remember this.
And Will's Way paid $7 for Jimmy Bond.
That Breeders' Cup
Will's Way he's a forgotten great horse.
No question
forgotten
about it.
Great talent. Great talent.
Yep. No, one of my favorite moments at Belmont was that Breeders' Cup when my flag ran down
that was
gold on
great.
the track. I remember this because it was left on the Groucho Gaucho voucher. I bet $379 to win.
Wow.
On my flag.
How were you borrowing money by the Classic?
No, I had a great day.
Oh, you did?
And then I bet I made a token bet on French Deputy because I felt like he didn't owe me any money.
There's a very funny Andy Beyer story about Northern Spur that we don't have time to tell, but it's a funny story. And we both liked him actually a lot in that race. Yeah, that was.
I bet him. Yeah, he
that was
he
a
made
great
a lot
Breeders'
of
Cup.
sense.
Yeah, that was a crush.
That was at
Breeders' Cup.
McAnally?
Sounds right. Charlie Sell owned the horse. Charles Sell, yeah. All right, race number 8 is a terrific race, by the way. And I'm going to start out with a horse that I thought Anthony would be more in favor of. I guessed a little wrong here, and that's not that Brady. You have third. This is him finishing second to the MIA looking at bikinis. Maybe he got caught looking at bikinis. Maybe
There was a Twitter pic of him on Wednesday, maybe. Looking at bikinis,
oh,
just
really?
laying in a stall.
It was always a horrendous
Saratoga.
name, and now, and named by a good friend of mine, by the way, but always a horrendous name, and now a particularly horrendous name. What's he going to do, though, with the speed in this race of Big Mountain and even Hourglass Buff?
Yeah, that's why I don't
particularly
have
Big Mountain. But if he can still run, and I know he sort of fell out of favor, this is a very good horse when he's good.
Very good horse.
Rudy doesn't love him today?
Very good horse. I had an ask. The problem is he's going to have to deal with some pressure on the front end, right? If he could even get to the front end.
Yeah.
These are Big
Mountain is fast.
Big Mountain when the pedals to the metal. Big Mountain's probably the fastest horse in this field. So,
No question about it. No question about it.
And you'd have to think that that's what worked at Aqueduct.
Oh, they're going with him. If you don't go with him, then why do they even take him out of the barn? I mean, and I don't think the Gumster stable boys are into rating speed horses. I agree.
First time Rob Atras too. So I mean,
I assume that you love it. I love Jackson. You can't like Twisted Tom.
No, I actually like both of them, but yeah, I know I like I Love Jackson better.
Well,
I should have had one A. I apologize.
You should apologize.
Well, no,
Not to me, to them.
I think you said it best. Linda's horses all seemed like they needed a race.
He was so bad. I had him third. He was so bad last
yeah,
time.
but Linda's horses needed that race, and I think he got run off his feet by a horse, and it's all relevant. Who, when he shows up, is a very good horse. He has his issues, but he's a very good horse, and more importantly, he's a very fast horse. The way the racetrack is, the way this race is supposed to set up, this horse is supposed to get a really good trip today. He's got the race under his belt. He's kind of sensible.
You lost all faith in Dupe's Point. I thought he was the horse to beat here. Second off a layoff, not a turf horse as it turns out. Christophe wanted to find out. I know he's sort of he's kind of a money burner, but isn't he kind of a logical horse in here?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what happened to him?
Man, I don't know.
I didn't pick him on top. I thought he was the horse to beat. I took this horse, Bluegrass Cat Smile, finishing second in the Bernardini at 1 mile and 5/16. I don't know what happened last time. I'm not going to blame the sloppy track. It's just like he was chasing the pace. Maybe needed a race off the layoff. This horse has got races that are kind of interesting. He's handled a wet track before. He ran well in this spot, first off the claim for Gary, and that was. I just thought he was a little bit interesting if the race fell apart. I was looking for a price in what I thought was a very tough competitive race.
Yeah.
And this horse ran well, certainly ran well enough in this race. He's got some back races that give him a chance to get a piece here, if not win. And I thought at a price he was worth taking a small shot with. Sure. That's really all. I didn't love him, but I just went through, and it's like I don't totally trust I Love Jackson, though I agree with what you're saying, and I have him third on that say-so. I mean, I don't think the 10-hour last buck is impossible because he can stalk. The problem with him is he's really dressed up by being on a racetrack that was carrying speed. And we saw, I know Moretti was second in the Suburban, but he went back to his mediocre form, and he was second by default because nobody else ran besides Tacitus. And I really feel like that racetrack greatly enhanced his last performance hour last buck.
I don't disagrey, but I'm going to say
this. Not that he can't, I wouldn't leave him out.
I'll say this about him. He's a very tough horse to leave out. Well, I guess if he I don't really think he's going to be the second choice.
He's coming off a 5 1/4 and a 4 1/4 length win with big figures. Yes, he's going to be short
here.
He's a different and they're going to see the win in the slop. I'll tell you right now, he's going to be favored.
Wow. You might be right. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I wouldn't want to have to mess with the morning line or try to.
No, I'm not knocking David's lines. I'm just saying I think David could text me and say, I think you may be right.
This horse is a different horse since they stretched him out.
No question about it. I'm not against him.
Maybe the only problem with that is.
I just think he's going to get bet in here, and you feel like you missed the boat a little bit.
The only problem with that is, and I know 2 starts back, he kind of rated, but he made the lead close to the half-mile pole.
But he stalked okay.
He did, but
the paces weren't as hot.
Don't you kind of feel like he's also turned it around because when he stretches out, he's in the pace more, and today they figure to kind of leave him a little bit more.
Except, you look at that pace of 48-3, they went 39-2 for the mile, so it really wasn't that slow a pace,
it wasn't that
Anthony.
slow.
I think it's been so long since we were at Aqueduct, we forgot how slow the track was a lot of the time, and the paces. Now, the paces were consistently faster in the final time, so I think it may have played part in the racetrack, so I'm not saying it should be as consistent. But, listen, I think he can win. I just feel like you've kind of missed the wedding with him a little bit.
You might be right. You might be right.
Race number 9. I heard a rumor my friend Tom Amos might be in town for a weekend. A long weekend, excuse me. We'll take a look at Long Weekend winning last time. I know that No Parole has the Grade 1 win. I am a big fan of this horse, Long Weekend. I think Tom has 2 very good sprinters, and I'm not sure this one is inferior to No Parole. He's supposed to be very tough at a short price. I think Tom is concerned that he's a horse that won't be effective going past 6 furlongs, but certainly at 6 furlongs, he's tough. And I'm sure you saw Gold Fever win the 1996 Naira Mile.
Naira Mile back then.
It's a big field, right?
Yep. Maybe Flying Chevron in that
Flying
race?
Chevron was in there. I believe I bet Discreet Humor in there.
Discreet Humor was in there?
I bet Discreet Humor.
Yep.
Bobby's last career start.
That was Devious Course?
It's a huge field, yeah. He was second at big price, Jimmy Bond. Yeah.
I want to say Devious Course won on the undercard as a 2-year-old. Not the undercard. I want to say he maybe won the Cowden the day Cigar started the streak at Aqueduct. That's a possibility.
You know that I had the greatest message ever left on my machine. I wish I saved it. And of course, my friend who left it passed away a couple of years ago, my friend Joe. But I had knocked on to Aqueduct that day. I was busy going to Meadowlands every night back then. So I think I was actually like literally at a museum, which is embarrassing, and I'm shocked to admit it. And I got back, and Cigar had already won. And he said, you know, I'm at Aqueduct, and I was hoping you were home and you could tell me about Cigar's dirt races because he's a favorite right now. And why would I want to bet him on the dirt?
He only ran twice on the dirt. He
He
broke
ran
his
well
maiden.
in both of them.
He got
Alex
beat.
Hassinger,
Yeah.
but he ran well in both of them. Got big figs.
Yep.
Probably should never have gone to the turf. Long weekend seems very,
else
very
can you
tough.
say?
But
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I don't think this is a bad field. I don't want to say that he's going
I
to
don't
win
think it's a
by
bad
default.
field, but he's a good
He's a
horse.
very good horse, but I don't want to discount the others. I actually like Premier Star as the other horse in here. He's scratched. Listen to your heart. We'll take a look at his second, to Mike Lee. Here's my question with him. Was his last race an aberration, or has he really turned the corner?
Right.
Because he ran well in here, but where did it come from?
He ran very, very well. His problem here is I kind of feel like his best races are when he is pressing the issue. And he's going to be chasing a very, very fast horse today. And I kind of feel like that makes him a little vulnerable late in the game.
Okay.
But if the Lasix helped and he turned the corner and he matured
True,
from 2 to
Lasix,
3.
I didn't see that, yeah.
Yeah, matured from 2 to 3. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with him at all. Look, they all have long weekend to beat in here. That was a heck of an effort last time out. He was under the gun from Jump Street, and he kept on going.
Against good horses. Very good horses.
Yeah, we're
He's a
against good
very,
horses.
very good horse.
Yeah, they have him to beat in here. And
Now, I
thought,
have a question for you.
Okay.
His lone bad race was at Naira. It was a very quick pace in the Serling Special, though.
Yeah, and then we didn't see him for 7 months.
And he's
6
obviously
months.
a much different horse.
Different horse.
Frankly, I don't know that he ran any worse and he lost that Serling Special much worse than he did in his debut. So I don't want to criticize it because the pace was quick and he was second start. We both have the 5. Wonder where Craig is. That horse is fast on Timeform US, faster than Beyer, a little faster than Beyer. Well, that horse was okay.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but kind of feel like Listen to Your Heart is going to do some dirty work pressing long weekend
I
today.
don't think the pace is going to be blistering.
Okay. And I think he gives. I know. I'm hoping he just sits 3rd or 4th and picks up the pieces for 2nd.
He's projected to be 2nd in the pace projector, in case you're interested.
Okay.
He was chasing fast paces. I thought Liam's Pride, the 7, had a chance. If you think the pace is going to heat up a little bit, I thought Liam's Pride could pick him up. He's got races early in the year at Oaklawn that are fast enough to compete in here. Why is he impossible?
He's not.
Coming off the turf, I thought he made a lot of sense, actually. I could have put him 2nd.
He's not.
I could have gone 6-7 here if I had known the 1 wasn't going to run.
Okay. We're going to try and find some value in the exacta. Yeah. I don't
Race
blame you.
number 10. I'm guessing Tiny Magoo probably ends up favored in race number 10 for Mike Maselli. Wanted to show his debut in his only race because this was a Super Gold Rail day at Aqueduct. And while we'll pick the race up at the top of the stretch, and you'll see him in the 2-path. He was on the rail until he angled out at the quarter pole. So he spent the vast majority of the race on the rail, so he benefited from it. While he was hurt by the fact that left leaning loose, he rode the gold rail. He had a very good trip overall. I guess he's okay. I have him 3rd. I picked some other horses here.
Yeah. He's an obvious contender off the turf.
You had to make up for not picking Rudy earlier with Not So Brady. Who's Brady, by the way? Tom Brady?
Well,
Brady
remember, they
Anderson?
claimed this horse first time out. They claimed, not
right.
first time, but they claimed this horse.
So that doesn't answer. That means they don't know who Brady
Apparently,
is.
the old connections are big New York Giants fans, and they were talking about not that Tom Brady.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay. So not Brady Anderson.
Not
He's
that,
played for the
not Brady.
Orioles.
No, not Brady. Not Mike Brady or Peter Brady or Bobby Brady.
Yeah.
Greg Brady.
Craig Brady. Mike, which one was the one? Which one was the one on a dead tour? Mike Brady?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he was known deadhead. He was like an infamous character or known person. You'd hear.
The father was on the tour?
No, the kid,
The
the
youngest one, Bobby
yes.
Brady.
Bobby Brady.
Mike was the father with the perm.
I think he was right.
You used to have a perm, right?
I do now.
Permanently nothing.
I had hair once.
I
It's a
remember.
long time ago. Not really.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Mid-80s, late 80s.
My disco years.
Your disco.
You've got
Studio
She's So
54
Naughty on
years.
top?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
First time Rudy, drop it in, catches
The
an off the
2,
turf
4, and
bunch.
6 are out in the last, by the way.
Okay.
I just got a text. Thank you, Steve.
2, 4, 6.
I'm not. Those aren't official, by the way. They were texted to me.
It's just a spread. It's a spread. It's a little bit of a guess.
Well, I don't think you're guessing with She's So Naughty. That worries me about her is that Todd Pletcher in a maiden claiming race didn't take much money and didn't do much running,
At
for
Gulfstream.
Todd. So
Yeah.
you're going from Todd at Gulfstream to Rudy here. I don't know. I've got the horse second, so don't get me wrong.
Racing
But I
state
don't know.
bred for the
much
first time.
Yeah, but the horse didn't do any running first time out. I like Adorable Maya here. If Adorable Maya runs her debut on the dirt, I'll be cashing. She got beaten by Jewel of Arabia and Naked Avenger
Too
on a
worried.
sloppy sealed track.
Too worried he's running for the tag. Doesn't she have a little value as a broodmare?
Who?
Adorable
Let's
Maya.
let's move on. The 9, Silent Empress, you left her in. You think
She's the first
there is
samurai.
there is some dirt in there? There is some dirt
There's
in
a
there.
little
You're not
dirt
wrong.
there.
There's some dirt. I wonder if leaving the 9 is a bad sign in general. But maybe Christophe
Right.
leaves him in. Christophe leaves him in though a lot. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I should have had the 9 in there. With the 4 scratch, the 9 can be my 4th pick. There you go. There you have it.
There you have it.
There, we're hearing the 4 scratch. Don't hold me to it.
It's a rumor.
You did a great job.
This is it.
You really did. Oh yeah.
Till
Well,
Saratoga.
next Thursday,
Well,
Anthony.
what,
Can you
mate?
make it 6 days without me?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my
We're having
best.
dinner on Sunday, by the way. Not this Sunday, the following
Okay.
Sunday.
Good to know.
Yeah, in case I forget.
Good to know.
Anyhow, I will be out on Saturday and Sunday.
That's a big
Acacia
weekend. I
will
got
be
you
filling
Sunday,
in.
Johnny I on Monday.
Wow, I'm the appetizer.
How strong am I?
Supposedly very strong. 100% match with the $200 deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200 for new members. Head over to NairaBets.com. If you're not a member, time to load up at Naira Bets. Closing weekend here at Belmont Park. Also 50-50-50. Friday and Saturday, Belmont, Keeneland, and Delmar. Delmar kicks off day first post at 5 p.m.
Yep.
Keeneland, they've got the Maker's Mark 46 in the Beaumont today.
They do. They do.
I believe that it's a battle of 2 Chad Browns of Without Parole, who had the bad trip in the race of Santa Anita against Raging
my boy,
Bull.
the Bull.
Raging Bull. Yes.
Cover that on
Your boy?
HRN today.
Your boy,
tonight.
you've officially adopted him?
Weekend. I wish. I would love.
I'm going to tell you something, by the way. Speaking of horses,
every day.
horses that you're in love with, I looked at the Del Cap. There's some challengers on that field to Dunbar Road. That's not a walkover for her. I'll tell you what. Will you disagree? It's a lot tougher field than she met last time.
Yeah.
You think
That's not going to matter.
Anthony, she's going to be 3 to 5.
I know.
It's a tougher field than you realize. You might want to take an actual look at it
I
without
looked.
throughout the
I
Dunbar
looked.
color. No, you didn't. You saw Dunbar
Of course
Road.
I
You said
looked.
I
I looked
like
for
her.
the weekend stakes
Man,
preview.
you're nonsense. It's nonsense.
Presented by Naira Bets. 14 races tonight at 6 o'clock.
Wow.
Sirius 219 XM 201 Horse Racing Radio.
I'll be on there.
You'll be on the air. Well, what are you going to do?
All right.
Podcast. You can listen to the podcast.
I'll get
Take
right
one,
on
write
that
all my picks
while
down.
I'm-
Bobby
while I'm-
Newman's write all the picks down.
All right. Kay will be joining Anthony this weekend for the
A-Train.
Talking Horses.
A-Train this weekend.
John Imbrial, the voice of New York racing, will be coming up next with a reprise of the Scratches and Changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to beautiful Belmont Park. Cloudy skies, rain in the forecast. As we start the day, the main track is